rise for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Alvarez.
Here.
Councilwoman Eckhart.
Here.
Councilwoman Hudak.
Here.
Councilman Lord.
Here.
Supervisor Hay.
Here. Notation of exits in the front and the rear and the electronic device. Please put it on vibrate or shut it off. Okay, make a motion to come out of the executive session. No action was taken.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I will ask if we go back in after the meeting and no action will be taken again. Okay, public hearing notice. It's for 306, 308 Tenette Lake Road, Blackberry Sewer Connection. Here is Mr., oh, you're here? Yes. Sorry, I don't know you, so come on up and introduce yourself.
Tony, open the
Time
public
out.
hearing. Open the public-
Okay, I make a motion to open the public hearing and waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jamie Splain from Hogan and Rossi. Mr. Ligori is the head front person on this project. However, he had an emergency and he couldn't make it tonight, so he sent me. Hopefully, I can answer any questions anyone has, and if I can't, we'll respond in writing, and I'll take note on that. By way of a little background, Warren Polkner brought his property at 306, 308.
Can you see to speak into the mic better, because I can't hear you myself. Can you hear?
Yeah, well, thanks.
Can you maybe make it a little bit, try it, okay,
Better?
yeah, maybe. I'm older than anybody else here, so forgive me.
I'll try to raise my voice.
Okay.
Warren Polkner's property, he purchased it in a foreclosure. It's approximately 2,000 square foot. The property does have 2 septic systems. However, they were trying to bring them. There was a number of issues on the property when he purchased it, and Mr. Polkner has been in front of various boards to get variances and get the property up to par. There's 2 septic systems that they tried to bring into conformity, but they can't because of various issues. So at this time, he is hoping that the sewer district can be extended in order to include his property on it. He would, of course, pay for any construction in order to connect his property onto the sewer system. And any pipes or drainage or pumps that were done under the road would be deeded over to the town. And any property, any pipes or pumps that were on Mr. Polkner's property, we would give an easement in order to for the town to come in if any maintenance were needed. Mr. Polkner is aware that there would be a connection fee in order to join into the sewer district, and he also would be at that point subject to any fees that any other member of the sewer district is subject to.
Fine. Anyone from the board, we've had this here numerous times. I think, John, have you been to any of the meetings? I mean, you've been out there where you were sitting here. Do you have any questions you want to answer?
No, I went to most of the planning
Okay.
meetings.
Right, and just to make it clear for Blackberry residents in that district, it will not cost them anything at all?
No.
Okay.
Okay, it's a public hearing. Anyone wish to speak to this item? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it will be on the next agenda for approval, which will be the 26th. And there'll be no need to attend if, you did the hard part tonight. Thank you. Okay, we have a few presentations. One this evening is from CAC, renovation of 67 Main Street. And you can explain what CAC stands for, because there's so many abbreviations for you guys, I can't keep track of which one's which.
CAC means Cultural Arts Coalition.
Okay.
So you all received paperwork from Olena, I hope,
Yeah.
and we're able to, so what we're looking for is just approval on our new plans so we can go ahead and get construction drawings done. That's where we're at right now.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, I thought she was gonna give a presentation
Yeah.
about everything that was happening.
Well,
Oh,
she
okay,
gave
so
it to you
Elena-
guys.
Oh,
She
okay.
gave it to you guys.
We wanted to tell the public.
Yeah.
Can you give a
Do you want me to go over it?
get a brief
Just a brief
overview for the public?
overview,
Yes,
if you don't mind.
we've been living it for the past 4, maybe it was 5 years.
I've been living it for about 10 years, so for me it's...
2011, right?
I know. All right, so, hang on. Okay, so, Let's see if I can actually find it. Okay. So the purpose of me talking about this is to get approval. All we really need is approval to go forward, to draw up construction plans. And we've been meeting with various stakeholders to make sure that everybody's on board with the changes that we're going to make, including the Historic Sites Commission and the Historic Preservation, and the museum is also involved. And we've got okays from pretty much everybody with the changes that we're making. We have a new architect involved who has been helping us with the plans, and we're very happy with him. A little bit of history for those of you who don't know, who haven't been living this for the past 10 years. We, back in 2010, we initiated a bond to revitalize the Old Town Hall Theater. It did not win, and we decided to regroup and create a different way to do this. Originally, we had planned on doing it in phases, thinking that was the most cost-efficient way to do that. But what we found along the way was that it was actually more difficult to get grants and any kind of monies from different organizations not having an end plan. Everybody wanted the end plan and the end cost. So what we've done now is we are moving forward with the money that we got for our first grant, which was $250,000. We have used it for planning. We have used it to remove all the windows and have the sashes rebuilt. Right now, they're redoing the frames of the windows, and the windows should be reinstalled in late April. Yeah, late April. Okay, as of 2018 in January, we got an extension on our grant because we were having trouble getting a plan together, and they did extend it for a year, and we will have used all the money by the end of the extension.
When's the extension good till?
The end of the year.
Okay.
The end of the year. And we're going to use that, the rest of it will be used for planning and probably the construction drawings that we need to move forward.
That's what Olena had put on that
Yes,
third page with
Yes.
get the renderings and all that?
yes. We have discussed with the museum their floor plan, and right now they seem happy with the space reconfiguration. We will be changing the entrance stairs, and we'll be restoring it back to the way it was. We'll be putting a landing in so it's safe. Right now, the door opens at the landing, and that's one of the things we're going to try to fix so that you don't fall out the door. And we're going to be raising the lobby floor so that it's accessible for wheelchairs to slide into the theater. Those were some of the more pressing issues that we came upon as we were doing this. So the next step is to get our approvals and move forward with the renderings and to get an assessment on the roof and the front bricking that is there, hopefully taking it back down to its brick, removing the paint that's there and taking it back down to its original. We are now dealing with the idea of fire sprinklers or not fire sprinklers. Some people are, I know you, Tony, have discussed about the fact that we may not need them.
Hey, don't blame me. It's a building code. Whatever
Yes,
they make the
but we have gotten
determination.
information that we may not need them due to the historic nature of the building, so we're actually investigating that to find out if we do need it by code. And the architects are going to do a risk evaluation to see what the issues would be if we didn't put them in. That's where we stand right now. And we're hoping that as we move forward, I mean, we want this to happen. I know you guys want this to happen. And it looks like we're headed in that direction. So it's been a long time coming, but I think we're really sitting on the cusp of real changes now. So we just sort of need an okay to move forward.
So specifically, like, what kind of approval are you looking?
We need you to approve the new floor plan so that we can then get construction drawings made.
So how would do we need to do that?
You have a
with
copy of them.
Well, no, we have it, but as far as like tonight, we'll say okey dokey, or do you need like a resolution, or?
Well, what do we have to do on that?
I'm not sure.
Well,
There would have to be a resolution.
Yeah,
of the board
we usually don't do it
authorizing
the same night.
Construction.
so if we're
Our next
settled
meeting.
with this
Can I ask
tonight?
one question? Are
You certainly can.
indicating You're going to take the facade of that building down to brick?
The Historic Sites Commission would like us to do that, correct? Am I correct, Mark? Yes, they would like us to do that because it will bring it back to the way it was when it was built.
I was under the impression that it was never raw brick, it was always painted.
Oh, it was absolutely raw brick at one point,
Well,
yes.
I've heard from other historians in this town that claim otherwise, but just so you know, that might be an issue.
Well, we'll have to test it, and we're going to have to scrape a little bit and test it. First, we have to decide if it has lead in it or not, and what we're going to do as we go forward. But we've been told that it does have brick underneath.
Oh, it's definitely constructed of brick, but I think it was always faced.
I think if I can, what we were told, because I was at the stakeholder meetings, is that it was an unusual color of brick. It might have appeared painted, but it wasn't the standard brick that is normally used. Now, I don't know if that's the case, but that's
Right.
what we discussed at these
Right.
meetings.
And at the meeting, they discussed, examining it and deciding how we should handle it once we, check into it and really do all our due diligence.
Okay, so.
Any
well,
other questions?
you know what, let's find out what the next step is on our end.
Put it on another agenda for a resolution authorizing the schematic plan that they've provided.
And what about the brick? Put an asterisk next to it?
Well, the building is a historically designated building. And you
Right.
can't do anything to the exterior of it until you are able to determine that what it's doing is either restoring it to original, and if it's not, you can't do it.
Okay.
Right, and
I think
there's,
SHPO's involved,
yeah,
right?
SHPO's involved, and the Historic Sites Committee is also involved, so
Right.
we're not going to do anything that's going to destroy the,
Right. No, they-
Landmark status.
the landmark, thank you, landmark status, long day.
all right, so-
Okay, so what we'll do, we'll put it on the next agenda, which will be the 26th,
Uh-huh.
a resolution to approve the plans as submitted.
Perfect.
Can I ask a question?
Okay.
So we're going to give them authorization to proceed with the plans that are submitted, and by doing that, are we authorizing monies to be used that we are in
Not our
control
money,
of?
their money.
Yeah,
No, it's not, we can't apply for grants until we have an end picture, and that's what we're trying to get to.
No, it's not going to cost residents.
And that's
Okay,
going to cost, and nobody's,
So
it's
you
not going to
come
cost you
us for
anything.
resolution or for authorization
Because it's our building,
because it's our building?
Yes.
town
Okay.
building.
Right.
Thanks.
so,
No
yeah,
problem.
anyhow. Yeah, I would really like to move this along, so I'd love to do it at the next meeting.
Next meeting.
I've been at
Okay.
all the stakeholder meetings, and it's been nice to see. I think everyone's finally really on the same page.
Yeah, I
which
think
is
we're
great.
finally there, and we're
Yep.
finally going to make it happen, which is really great.
Okay?
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Very good.
Okay, second presentation, Commission Risk Assessment. Mr. Ravinsky. Just state your name for the record, please. State your name for the record. I know you, but a lot of people don't. Lynn does.
I do.
My name is Jerry Ravnitsky. I'm a co-founder of Stop the Algonquin Pipeline Expansion, and I'm also an executive member of Sierra Club Lower Hudson Group. And
And you are a little bit taller, so you can maybe raise the mic up a little bit so you can be heard better possibly?
yes,
There you go.
back in February of 2016, Governor Cuomo sent a letter to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and he directed 4 of the state agencies to request that FERC, as Federal Energy Regulatory Commission is known, that they halt construction of the AIM pipeline until the independent risk assessment is completed. The cost to the taxpayers was originally something a little over $80,000, but it was expanded so that it became at least $250,000 and maybe a little bit more. So that's taxpayer money going to this risk assessment to find out how dangerous it might be to have the AIM pipeline next to and inside the grounds of Indian Point. And incidentally, it isn't just a one pipeline, there are 3 pipelines. 2 of them are right alongside the plant, the nuclear plant. Now, the results of this study have not been released. They were supposed to have it released by the end of 2016, nothing has been released so far. There have been numerous FOIL requests, both by individuals in the community as well as numerous politicians, office holders, and letters to the governor and to the various agencies that requested this study. And there was no tangible information released. And the question is why they would not release that information. It's been almost a year and a half now, or at least well over a year since they should have released it. And the only logical reason is that it would be too dangerous, that the study would report that it was too dangerous to have them coexist at that location. If it was safe, they would have released that information. It would not have been a problem to release it. But it has been a problem, and all of the scientists, both from organizations such as, let's see, the Union of Concerned Scientists have been very involved in this, and they have indicated that an explosion at that site, which could very well happen, would be a catastrophe and would affect 20 million people living within the 50-mile radius, and that it would be unsafe for people to live within that 50-mile radius. Includes almost all of New York City, except for a small piece of Staten Island. There is one person who I've had some contact with, David Lockbaum, was director of the Nuclear Safety Project for the Union of Concerned Scientists. And his areas of expertise includes nuclear power safety, nuclear technology and plant design, regulatory oversight, plant license renewal, and decommissioning. And he had indicated that there's no way that that could be made safe. And even if Indian Point, and when Indian Point is closed, decommissioned, it will still not be safe because there's more than 40 years of spent fuel rods that are highly radioactive, and that can cause contamination that can even go beyond the 50-mile radius, and possibly many of the scientists have said that almost the entire East Coast could be impacted. So, we have New York City, which is the center of commerce and center of business in the United States. That could be completely destroyed, where no one could go near there. The amount of destruction that could happen is just beyond comprehension. There is a lot of leakage from that pipe as well. Scientists are saying that anything beyond maybe 3% leakage from the pipes could cause a lot of medical problems. And yet they find that the leakage in many of these pipes run up to 12%. So the amount of methane gas that gets into the air is very toxic and is carcinogenic. Yet these pipes run alongside schools, homes, and hospitals, etc. It is especially dangerous for senior citizens and for children. Many children who live near those pipelines end up with asthma and other respiratory problems. And the seniors, anyone who has heart problems or respiratory problems can have serious problems when there are either the leakage from the pipes or when they have when they call them the blowdown from the compressor station, and there is a compressor station in Southeast. People living within, they say within 6 miles can have a problem with that. And it's not only people there, but people who live in North Salem and in Connecticut are quite close to that, or close enough that they could be affected. So there is an organization that has been formed, been meeting for about 2 years. I'm one of the members. There's about something a little over 20 people who've been meeting, trying to establish a citizens oversight board to provide recommendations to the governor, to the legislature, and to the governor's task force, which was established by Governor Cuomo, and there's also a task force that was established by the Cortland town supervisor. And both of them have been meeting, but there are no scientific experts on either of these groups. They talk about possibly having some scientists come there at some point in their deliberations, but they haven't yet done so. But they're not a member of the group. And this organization that I mentioned to establish this, the recommendations, we've come up with a list of recommendations that will probably be released within the next week or two. We've also arranged to write a law that would be recommended. Of course, the wording may end up being changed considerably when the governor gets it, but it was written in a legalistic kind of way, and I'm not an attorney, but we've had attorneys look at it and so forth. And one of the big problems is that people on these boards that were set up by the governor and by the local community, they don't have the scientific knowledge. And one of the problems is they've been talking about using that land after the nuclear site has been decommissioned, to use that for a gas power plant. Now, they apparently don't realize that there have been numerous problems at Indian Point. There have been leakage of radioactive fluids there that have contaminated the groundwater. And if they establish anything on that property, it may endanger the lives of people who build it and people who work there. And the other thing is that we really don't need a power plant there, certainly not a gas power plant. There is sufficient energy when the Indian Point is shut down. There's sufficient energy without any more gas power plants. And I was wondering if there was any questions to anything I've said so far, or any.
Well, Jerry, as I understood it, what you would like the town board to do is minimally write a letter asking for the risk assessment to be released.
Yeah, there is a petition that was signed by a number of groups. I think some of them were towns, Phillipstown and I think Putnam Valley, and I think Peekskill has signed that. But there are some groups, and I think including Westchester County, that preferred to write their own version of this, requesting that the risk assessment be released, and that whatever recommendations there are be seriously considered. And one of the things, the only way to make that safe is to stop that pipeline. The governor, I believe, can stop it as an emergency measure. And I think Federal Energy Regulatory Commission and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission have, well, they do whatever the industry
Jerry,
wants.
I think what this board is, I think what we would be willing to do is to write, I think the risk assessment should be released. We paid for it. It certainly, you know, the people deserve to see what the risk assessment is. So, and I know that's really what the presentation was supposed to be tonight. So
Yes.
I don't know if people have questions on the board, but I have no problem. I read Sandy Galiff's letter. I thought it was straightforward, to the point, and really made sense. I don't know how the rest of the board will feel, but I think that at this point is probably where, at least where I stand.
Well, I think it's curious that it hasn't been released, even though Sandy Galiff is, you know, one of our representatives.
Right.
And it just, I don't know how much a letter from us
Right.
is going to produce the desired result. I think everyone in this room and anyone that's watching right now would love to see whatever the results are. The fact they haven't released the results, you know, automatically makes you think that there's something
Right.
not too nice there. So I would have no problem having the board send a letter requesting the release of the findings. I don't exactly know how they're gonna respond up there, but, you know, maybe there's more people,
Yeah.
more municipalities, more representatives that request it. I mean, I find it fascinating that the governor hasn't provided any response, even to the extent of saying, you know, maybe there's classified information, which I doubt.
Right.
But in reading what you've provided to us regarding the risk assessment itself, the forms that you had given to us, I cannot understand why this is creating such an issue
So,
with the
I
release.
think, does anyone else on the board have any questions?
Nope, we're prepared to write a letter.
Okay,
The only response that was received was one of the people who I've worked with, Susan Van Dolsen, received a response. The first batch of information had 330 pages withheld.
okay.
And then they said there was a second batch, and there were 180 pages withheld from that. And the question is why they had to withhold all of the information that would have provided answers to the questions that people had. Is it safe or not?
So, well,
And if not, what do we have to do to make it safe?
so, I mean, I thank you for the presentation. I think this board, Tony and I we work on a letter and we'll circulate it with the board, and I think that's something that, I think everyone wants to get their money's worth and is happy to.
No, I just want to know why they're withholding it, whatever the reason is.
Thank you.
These are things that you can just copy.
Okay, great, thank
Okay,
you.
great.
This also is-
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
All of the medical societies, including the AMA, has been extremely concerned about this issue and about methane gas in general, that they find that it is extremely dangerous in areas near where it gets out into the air. There's an increased amount of respiratory illness, cancer of various kinds, and other illnesses.
all right. Well,
Thank you.
thank you for the presentation, and we will be working on getting the letter out.
Thank you.
Okay, and
Okay.
I'd appreciate it to see
Thanks,
a
Jerry.
copy of that. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Rubinsky. Now I'm going to make a quick public service announcement as well based on that. As you know, the town of Southeast does have one of these stations. It's considered to be Enbridge, Spectra Energy, and Algonquin Gas. Now, we do receive requests from time to time. I know I volunteered our services to the town because they are not required to notify anyone but the host community, which is the town of Southeast. I called them this past week and asked them to expand it. I asked them to include North Salem, which they've already done. The North Salem supervisor is now notified, he was not. I asked them they would consider notifying the schools, because something came to me this week about that, and they didn't want to do that. And so I volunteered to do that to the schools. I've been in contact with them. But for the general public, the town of Southeast has a website, www.southeast-ny.gov. Go to our website. If you want to be made aware if there's a release of gas in this particular area, we're having a town board meeting tonight, you're interested in anything to do with this town, sign up. Once you sign up, you can get any information you wish that we put out onto our website. Town board meetings, planning board meetings, work sessions, and the release of the gas. So if you're really interested, like you all say that you are, sign up for it. Don't complain that we're not doing our part. We do everything we possibly can, but we need your help by signing up. Because I can't personally email each one of you. I do to schools, I do one individual who gets it out to the rest of the group, but you control your own destiny. Sign up, and not just for that, 911, any kind of reference to do with this town for notification, please sign up. Thank you. Okay, I make a motion now to go into the work session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
First item on the agenda, Fox Ridge IDA benefits. You need to explain what we're doing. We kind of know, but let us know again, please. And give us a quick background of what's going on. The original Fox Ridge application had these benefits, and now you're going to have a new applicant. So just explain what the benefits they're looking for and the process that we're in now.
Yes, of course. So as everyone might be aware, this is regarding the hotel that's in construction on Peach Lake Road, or was in construction. It has been stalled for a little time now. The hotel originally received benefits from the IDA back in March of 2009. So it initially had come before the town board probably in around January of 2009. What we're looking for, so at this time, construction has stalled on the hotel. There's been issues with financing, and the hotel is currently financed with Putnam County Savings Bank. Putnam County Savings Bank has agreed to a short sale of the property to Shelley Nanchani. Mr. Nanchani is associated with
I
Greenwich.
cannot understand you as well. Can everyone understand the words?
I'm
Maybe
sorry.
Speak a little slower. I speak fast too, so I'm slowing
Yes.
down. I'm getting older, but you're not.
I'm sorry. The Putnam County Savings Bank has recently agreed to a short sale of the property to Shelley Nanchani. Mr. Nanchani is associated with Greenwich Hospitality Group, but Mr. Nanchani would need IDA benefits as well in order to move forward with the project. There's still the same plan for the hotel, which would be a 57-room hotel. The plan is still to eventually for it to be a Best Western. What the IDA benefits that would directly affect the town would be a pilot program. What that is payment in lieu of taxes. There'd be an agreement for the recipient to, instead of, they would be paying taxes on the land value, but any improvement, they'd be paying reduced, they wouldn't be paying taxes, they'd be making payments pursuant to an agreement, pursuant to which they pay 50% of the taxable amount the first year, and it's over a 10-year period. So it starts out at 50%, and then over that 10-year period, they pay more and more. So 50% moves down to 0% at the 10-year part where they would be paying full taxes. They would still be paying full taxes, though, on the land value. Currently, the land value on the property is $1,200,000. It's assessed at $1,200,000.
What's the overall value when it's completed? Do you know that?
The predicted value after construction is $5,100,000.
5.1, does that include the land value?
Yes, including the land value.
So you're looking at 3.9 million
Yep.
that would be discounted.
Discounted, yes. If you took it as a hypothetical, just so I can go back for a moment, Fox Ridge did receive these benefits in 2009. However, they never took advantage of the pilot payments. So they never received the discounted taxes. They've been paying the regular taxable rate since 2009.
That is because it was not, they don't take effect until it's completed. Is that
They
correct?
haven't completed construction, yes.
So if they had completed, they would have gotten it.
Yes.
And these won't take effect until they complete it.
Yes, the estimated time of completion, once contract is finished and everything, they have the same contractors that will be working on the project. The estimated time of completion would be about 120 days once construction resumes.
Is the
So-
building permit that they have still active? Is there any lapse of any site plan, building permits?
As far as I'm aware, there is not, as far as I'm
So,
aware.
so once they get this approval, they're moving forward, or not until we?
Once the contract closes,
Are they gonna go forward with or without these benefits?
Mr. Nachani cannot go forward with the sale if he does not receive IDA benefits.
Okay, so the town board has to make a decision whether to grant.
Well,
the
I'm
benefits?
not sure about that. That's what I wanted to ask about, the process of who actually makes the decision, and the IDA holds the title, is that correct? This is really murky to me, so if you could be specific, it would be helpful.
So the IDA currently, there's a lease with Fox Ridge currently. So that whole pilot program and that whole agreement would have to be vacated. And Mr. Nachani is currently in contract on the property. However, it is contingent upon him getting IDA benefits upon closing.
I believe her question was, who
Right.
owns the property? Does the IDA own the property, or does the Fox Ridge, whatever the corporation, who owns it?
My understanding is that currently that the agreement in place that Fox Ridge does own it, that they worked it out that Fox Ridge does own it. However, as stated earlier, this is Mr. Ligori's, he is the head attorney on this matter. However, he had an emergency tonight, so he did ask me to cover for him.
Well, can you possibly, maybe tomorrow, after the emergency is over, if it's even tomorrow?
Yes.
Identify that so this could be cleared up?
Well, let's just
Yes.
let's make sure that we have clearly identified what
I want to
Lynn's
know,
concern is, and, I mean, is it that you want to know if the IDA, which is the Industrial Development Agency, owns the
no, I
land?
want to be clear on, I have a lot of questions, so if you want to finish first, but I don't understand the process, like, if the town board says, gee, we don't, because in my opinion, this does not offer great benefits as far as high, quality jobs or anything, so I have a real problem with giving up tax dollars. But my question would be, for example, if Southeast does not want to participate, is that just too bad for Southeast? If the school district doesn't want to, there are a lot of moving parts, and I need to know how those work.
I understand what your question is and what your concerns are. Generally speaking, the way that it works is the IDA would take the deed to the property and then lease it back to the entity who would be running the business. Generally, that is how it works. As regards to Fox Ridge currently, I'm not sure if the deed is in the property of, the deed is in the name of the IDA or if it is in the name of Fox
So you
Ridge.
don't know
That I can
currently.
confirm.
So who
Yes.
holds the mortgage? So the mortgage then is held by Putnam County Savings Bank?
Yes.
And so, but do you know the mortgagor, the name of the mortgagor, the current mortgagor?
Fox Ridge.
Okay, so then it must be that Fox Ridge then owns it, because,
Well,
correct me
right,
if
but
I'm
I'm not
wrong.
Only
worried.
because they never took the benefit.
No,
Yes.
well, what it is that a deed and a mortgage are instruments of conveyance, and they both have to be in the same name. So if the mortgagor to Putnam County Savings Bank that is going to be subject to the short sale is Fox Ridge, where is it, Fox Ridge Motor Inn, correct? Then in that event, then the deed is held by Fox Ridge Motor Inn. Does Fox Ridge, right now, was Fox Ridge Motor Inn, were they going to have the IDA benefits? Yes, that's what
Yes.
this letter
Yes.
says.
Yes.
So they were going to have the benefits. So we, as a town board, had already approved that, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But
Yes.
the main factor, though, the transfer never took place. At some point in time, when the benefits are approved, it would have to go to a leaseholder. In other words, Fox Ridge becomes a leaseholder, and the IDA actually would own the building until the lease is paid.
Generally, that is how it's done.
And the only reason it hasn't taken place in this case is they never got to the point where the actual final document was ever signed. They're not receiving any benefits from the IDA at this present time.
They're not received pilot benefits. They did receive mortgage recording benefits and sales tax benefits.
Okay.
Yes.
So the only benefits they hadn't received were the pilot payment in lieu of tax abatement on the improvements.
Yes.
So it's only on the improvements, not on the dirt itself, so to
Not on the
speak.
land
Got
itself.
it. Okay.
And as a hypothetical, I can give you, just to explain a little more clearly how these benefits work. So in 2018, the taxable rate for the town itself is 3.1396 per thousand. So if we were to take, if the benefits were to take place right now, so it'd be the first year, so 50% a reduction, and the property was valued at $5,100,000. When you take out the land, which is $1,200,000, which you'd still get taxes on, which using that rate are approximately $3,700. Then if you took the improvements and you factored in the IDA benefits, so it'd be 50% of what the taxable value is. So that would equal around a little over $6,000 that the town would be getting. If you add those two together, it's about $9,000, almost $10,000. That's compared to $16,000 if the property was fully taxable. So it's about a $6,000 difference.
A $6,000 reduction?
It'd be about $6,000 less than if the benefits hadn't been in place.
Correct, so then, all right, so what's happening is then, what you're saying is that Mr. Nichani is saying, if I am unable to receive that benefit, I will not move forward with this building, and therefore, there'll be obviously no benefit to the town of any increased monies, because the property, unless somebody else steps up to the plate, will be just left there exactly what it looks like now.
Yes, I mean, the contract hasn't even closed, so Mr. Nichani doesn't even own the property. He won't go through with the closing if these benefits aren't in place, at which time you're likely to have a situation, because the current owner of the property cannot move forward with the construction, where it'll either be a foreclosure by a bank or foreclosure in REM because taxes can't be paid eventually, because at this point in time, nothing is moving forward. The current owner doesn't have the funding.
Right, and it's been sitting there for a long time, right? I mean.
Yes, I mean, construction had been moving along fairly progressively, and then it did stall at some point in time.
And Mr. Nichani is saying, I receive these benefits, I'll sign, the contract will be signed, if I receive the benefits, I'm moving forward, it will be completed, there will be a hotel there, and it will be you said Best Western?
The understanding is that's what they're moving forward with, is it would be eventually Best Western.
So what do you need from us?
Okay.
You need, what kind of an approval?
What we're looking for is consent to the grant of IDA benefits.
And how would we give
Well, we
that
have to do
consent?
resolution.
Yeah, it'd be by resolution.
Okay,
Very
so
good.
right now we have at least one board member. I'd like you to at least write down her questions.
Yes,
We'll put this on the next agenda. Hopefully the answers are by then, and I think we'd be prepared to vote on it at the next meeting, which is the 26th. But in the meantime, could you take Ms. Eckhart or anyone else has a question? I mean, I've seen this happen now for years. You know, we've had numerous proposals, not why I sat here, but on the Putnam County Legislature, and this is now coming through the Putnam County IDA, is it not?
yes,
Okay, so if you could just take Ms. Eckhart, get back to her, and to
Of
all of
course.
us at one time, we'll read it and make a decision at our next meeting.
of course.
Can I ask
Good.
one question,
Yeah.
Mr. Supervisor? Would the school district have to separately assent to
Yes.
this pilot arrangement?
Yes, I don't believe that it's on a school board agenda yet. They've been made aware of this. Actually, we were at the IDA the other evening for a meeting, and the attorney for the school district happened to be there on another matter, so they're aware of it. They'll likely have it on one of their upcoming agendas as well.
And
Did they approve the last one?
Yes,
And the county approved it as well?
yes, it was
Okay.
approved in around January of
Okay,
2009.
so all three entities signed on the last time. Now, have you gone to the school, you're going to schools, has Putnam County signed on to this as yet?
I don't believe it's
No,
been
I was
on
at the
agenda
meeting.
as of yet.
You were on the agenda, I'm sorry, and it's not you, and excuse me.
It.
It was on the agenda last night at the legislature, and no one showed up.
I
So-
wasn't aware of that, but
Okay. There was
Okay.
no one there.
Do you want to ask some questions? You want to put them
Yeah,
in writing?
no, I don't want to put them in writing.
I
I would not like to, I
Okay.
do not want to put them in
Ask
writing. So, I'm still unclear on the process. If this town board said no, it doesn't really matter,
it is,
if we didn't give consent.
if the applicant is not, if the, Mr. Nichani is not able to get these benefits.
No, I understand that, but,
Okay.
From all
but
three?
in other words, if, does it have to be all, is it all or nothing? Do all three have to say yes? Or is there, I mean,
Is it has to be unanimous consent
Yeah.
by the town board, by the school board, and by the county before Mr. Nichani will sign the contract.
well, I don't even care about that. I want to know in theory, does it have to be?
Yeah, the question, from the way I understand it, is what you're asking is, can the IDA grant these benefits without the
Yes.
town's approval?
No,
And
yes.
I will get back to you, I will let
Okay.
you know.
that would be great.
I would say no,
Then why do they need our proof?
but I'm not a lawyer.
Can you, by the way, can you just, when you had given us the idea with the taxes and how much, if you could also put that in writing?
Of course.
Right. And it would help, I know the school is different, but it would be good for us to see because it's a lot more money. It's a lot more money
Oh, yeah.
for the
I'm
schools.
sorry, Lynn,
The school district, I mean, it,
That's 85% of the tax bill.
right, I mean, the school district right now, I think if I've got this right, and Lori can correct me if I'm wrong, but pays right now about $126,000 a year. So, you know, the thing about that people don't realize is when we grant something like this, other people have to pick up the slack of the taxes. It's not like, it's not free, and other people will have to make up the difference. That's other taxpayers, so. And I think that's really important to remember. I also want to, I was speaking to someone in Patterson today. They had and this is a cautionary tale that we can deal with, but they had, not in foreclosure, but I guess it's an IDA project that was approved and went south, and basically they're left holding the bag, and the building won't even pay for the back taxes, and they got their benefits, and then it's been very problematic financially for the town of Patterson. So that's just something that you don't have to be aware of or care about, but we should care about.
So there's no value in the building to recoup any of the money? Is that what you're saying?
They don't believe that will cover the back taxes for them.
How much do they
Which-
owe?
Because of the school district and everything else. I didn't ask the name of the project. I know we have lots
Yeah.
here.
But how far back were the taxes? Usually it doesn't go more
I
than
don't
3
know,
years.
but I'm told that because the gentleman who owns it or the entity that owns it can walk away with all their equipment and everything else, that, you know, I don't know whether it's just a metal building or what, but.
Could you
it's-
find out? I'd be interested in knowing that.
Yeah, I can find out.
More specifics.
Okay. So I was just urged that if we do this, we just need a really strong agreement that protects us, that protects the town if someone should walk away from after 10 years or,
Well, unfortunately, I've read in the paper numerous times, not so much around here, but further upstate and things
Yeah.
of that nature, where the people collect the benefits, and after the 10 years, they take a hike, sell it, and
Yeah.
they're gone. So,
yeah.
it
And-
happens. It's life.
Yes, I know.
I mean, of course, there's going to be cautionary tales out there with everything. However, with this project in particular, as I stated earlier, if this sale doesn't go through, we're in a situation where there's likely to be a foreclosure on the property anyway, because the current owner has tried to get additional financing. They went through millions of loops, and they weren't able to do it. So it's at a bit of a standstill now. And, you know, it will come to the point where there could be a foreclosure anyway, and then we're talking about the same thing over again.
Yep.
And most likely, any person going to take over a project like this or any other project, big, will be looking for a similar benefit.
Yes, you know, especially this is the first it would be the first named hotel in Putnam County by an organization like
Heidi's
Best Western.
his name.
I'm about to say Heidi's has a name.
No, I
No,
mean,
no, I'm kidding.
by an organization like Best Western.
Heidi's. Heidi's the best motel
No.
we have in this area.
It is, it's
It's a plug
lovely.
for them.
It is lovely. I'm not trying to downplay
Okay.
Heidi's by any means.
Just kidding you.
Name brand.
Yes,
Heidi's
name
been
brand.
around since the Jets lost that game.
National
Yes.
chain.
And
Heidi
ju-
should be a national chain.
Just to be clear, earlier when I said we were in front of the county, I meant the IDA. I wasn't aware, as I said, of the meeting yesterday in front of the county
That was
legislator.
at the legislature.
Yes, on Tuesday, we were meeting with the Putnam County IDA, or Monday.
It was Monday,
Monday,
because I thought
yes.
that was last
Yes.
night too, but it wasn't.
Okay, what other questions you got?
Well, I would like, I mean, I don't think you can really answer this, but what the IDA is supposed to do and what pilot programs are supposed to do is advance job opportunities and the economic welfare of the people of the state of New York. And I understand where you could argue that this would help the welfare, I guess, but I don't see the
Help the what?
welfare of people of New York State. I don't see the job opportunities here that I would with a manufacturing plant or other IDAs that have been granted in this town. So I have obviously a real problem with this, and I don't mean to take it out on you, but I do have questions as far as the process and what we can do and if it can be
So,
parsed out.
employment numbers. And you're going to have a
Yeah.
manager, assistant manager, so many room cleaners and whatever you may have, just
Right.
identify that.
Of course, well, I'll look into that and we'll get that back to you. But it also, we're hopeful will bring more people into the area, people who will go to
Spend money.
restaurants and go to use the different convenience stores and be, using different commerce in the area and bringing in funds to the town in that way as
But
well.
it is arguable that this is not the only fish in the sea, that someone else might come along and might actually not, pay full taxes.
They've been fishing for well
Yeah,
over
I'm
a
about to
year.
say-
We
plus
have,
now.
and Mr. LaGoria has met with a number of people interested in the property. Nothing came about, and over the last year he has, and like I said, besides meeting with lenders, has met with potential purchasers, and this is the only real fruitful.
I mean, I think in terms of the manufacturing plant that you've mentioned, Lynn, does that mean that, and perhaps you can answer this question, that the IDA only has specific amounts of money, so if it's used on a hotel, then it won't be able to be used on a manufacturing plant? Because otherwise, they
no.
gotta knock the hotel down and put up a manufacturing plant.
No, that's
Oh, okay.
not what I'm saying as far, no, it's usually,
No, unless it's limited amounts of money where it's either gonna be, we're gonna do this for a hotel or for
no,
someday.
they don't have to give any money. They don't
Yeah.
have to do any pilot programs. It's been a long time
No, but when you
since
made the
we have.
comparison, that's why I was a little confused.
Well, I'm making a comparison as far as job opportunities, and that's why I want to see what payroll might be, and what,
Right now, I think that this is the only hotel game in town. I think, under the circumstances, because when I drive by, it looks pretty dismal at this point, and I think that whatever's up there, if something isn't acted on pretty soon, it's going to be subject to the elements, et cetera. So I think that might be another consideration.
The comparison you're trying to compare, I don't think is really entirely fair, because they're gonna be renting rooms, like the woman said. They're gonna come here, they're gonna spend money on hotels, gasoline, different events. Hopefully they don't go across the border into Connecticut and stay here in Putnam County. It's, of course, much closer to the border, and with a manufacturing job, it's a different value of dollars, and if you add the types of dollars of values that you can't project with 57 rooms, there's another benefit to the public. So it's not a quick pro quo, so to speak.
Yes,
You're here representing the purchaser?
yes.
Okay, and how soon after he signs and should he get the benefits that he's looking for, how soon would he begin completion of the project? And
120
how's-
days, 120.
It would take approximately 120 days.
So it
That's
would
my
be on the
understanding.
tax, he'd be starting to get the benefits in this calendar year, 2018?
Well, the benefits would be once the construction is complete, depending upon when the closing occurs and how long that 120 days takes. But once they receive their CO, then they would, of course,
And the
want the pilots
taxes, the
to-
new taxes, I don't think go into effect till next March? Would that be it? This is Lori Bell, the town assessor.
So March 1st is taxable status date every year. So since this wasn't completed by this March 1st, at the earliest they'll be completed might be between now and next March 1st. The first applicable school bill will be September 2019, and the following January 2020 town and county bill.
Thank you.
And so $6,000 would be the benefit for the first year from the town of Southeast?
that's on the hypothetical that the tax rate is the same amount and that it is valued at $5,100,000.
Okay.
That sounds awful low, but I'll go with your number until I see it. I think that's awful low.
right now, I believe the taxes for the town are $12,244.44.
That's it?
That's what it is, and the county's $12,051.21, and fire's $2,151.12.
That's only our portion, not the
Right.
entire portion.
Oh, this is only in regard to town of
Okay.
Southeast. Yeah, that's all these numbers
That's why I
are.
said the
Okay.
school taxes are over 126,000, and that's as is right now. The
And
last,
they don't produce any kids, or maybe one or two. that put it in.
yeah, well, the last thing is this, the IDA is never need-based. It's just a business, it's strictly a business thing, because last night at the legislative meeting, a legislator said that this gentleman owns, and I quote, hundreds of hotels around the country and has deep pockets. And that always is, I don't know if it's true, but it's aggravating that it'll cost other residents money if that's the case, that's all. And
No,
know
I,
it's not being-
yeah, of course, I understand your concern. I mean, the incentive is to bring business into the area, and that's the ideas, that's their mission, is my understanding, is to bring business in, and that's, what the benefits are granted based upon. Mr. Nachani, like I said earlier, he is affiliated with Greenwich Hospitality Group. And he does have hotels in the Connecticut area. He saw an opportunity here because he doesn't have anything close to this area. He would need financing, of course. It's not that he has so many funds that he could just, buy up this building. And he would be looking for funds from, I believe he's looking at Patriot Bank right now.
So, who is it?
I believe Patriot Bank is who he's working with currently.
And if you can, if I have other questions, can I email you?
Of
Do you have a
course,
card?
I do.
Lynn, could you copy us on it too?
Yeah, I can, yeah. And I'll email you my address, so then you'll be able to answer it.
Could I have a card?
Thank you very much.
Could I have a card too? Thank
Oh, I
you.
want to.
Oh,
I'm gonna give it right over here.
Well, one's fine.
Thank you,
We're on good.
thank you.
No, I appreciate your time, and I'm sorry to be so stern on this, but it's aggravating not to understand the process and not know exactly what's within our power, I guess.
Of
So,
course,
thank you.
and I'll get back to you on those items that you asked about. And if you have any questions, you can reach, or the additional questions, you can reach out to me or Mr. Ligori. I don't know if you have his
Well, I'll
information.
email you, and then you get to pass it. You'll give him the short straw on this one.
And then if you could let Mr. Legori know that we're going to put it on our next meeting, which is April 26th, so obviously it would be great if we can get the information in time to,
Long before.
Is
Yeah.
there's no
Yes.
public hearing on this then? No?
Will?
No. And it would be nice if you can come up with a number from the Putnam County IDA, how many other IDAs they've had in the past, say, 3 or 4 years, what they were. Were there any other hotels, businesses, and identify what they might be.
They're mostly in Southeast. I mean, I have the former pilot plants were 7 Sutton Place, Dynacep, Powers Fastener, Ace Indigo, which actually was quite recent. Was part of it more recent?
They just came taxable
Yeah.
this year or last year, but they're going back on
Yeah.
for the addition.
So-
Who, Ace Indico?
Yes. They're not, I think Southeast has by far the most.
And I think the one that you're talking about in the Patterson, I don't recall the name, but it is an anomaly.
Okay.
It is.
But I think we really want to look at the fine print, just so the same anomaly
Let me
can.
get your magnifying glass.
Okay. So,
I wish the IDA were here too, to
Yes.
help us, understand this. They're helping, I guess, the town and the county, but I'd like to know, they're a county organization, aren't they?
They're independent of the county legislator. They're their own, they have their own attorney and their own organization like that, but they are associated with the county.
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, you shouldn't have been put on the hot seat. They should have been.
Well, I'm happy to give whatever information will help move this along, and I understand your reservations.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lori, is everything?
Liz, I believe the project is one of the buildings in Patterson in the Robin Hill Corporate Park.
The what?
Robin Hill?
Robin Hill?
Know where that
Sure.
is? On
Yep,
22?
absolutely.
Okay. I'm not sure which building, but it's one in there. Liz, to your point about the taxpayers picking up the difference
Right.
when a pilot is in place, just wanted to point out that even though there may be a reduction as an incentive to whatever project
Right.
comes into town for that, that they will still be paying at the non-homestead rate,
Right.
which is higher rate than what the residents pay.
They'll
So-
pay the commercial, I mean, all the
Well,
commercial
It just
properties.
softens it a little bit, but I
Right.
just wanted to point that out about the offset
Right.
with the residents.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, second item is a bikeway parking Pump House Road. The bikeway is one of Putnam County's major successes in the past probably decade. When it first came along, there was tons of federal money for this. I can't name all the different branches because it goes from New York City and eventually it's going to go as far north as Albany into Connecticut. And right now, the portion is going basically from Kobackers to the Patterson line as far as southeast is concerned. And when this first started out with the monies from the federal government, I never supported the situation. What it was, the federal government really put the money into the bikeway because they expected people to ride their bikes to work. Now, how that ever flew, I have no idea. I'm glad it did, but it was not a reality. That's why we have a lot of problems now with our bikeways, not having access for people to park. At the bottom of Bruce Heights, they have a couple of makeshift spaces which stink. They have one over by the old Dillwood plant. I don't know what it is. What's that? EnviroWaste, I think, has the building now. There's a parking there by the bridge. So there's certain areas that are set up for parking, for people to bring their car, get off in a safe area, and get onto the bikeway. So the portion now that's going to go from Kobackers to the Patterson line runs through our town, and it goes by Tenneto Lake, okay? Now, as you go out on Pump House Road, you come to the railroad tracks. As soon as you cross the railroad tracks, on the right-hand side, there's a small piece of land that's owned by the town. So the MTA wants to use a portion of their land and a portion of town land to put in a parking lot. Now, they're going to provide us 18 spaces, regular parking, 2 handicap parking spaces for a total of 20. Now, whether this goes in or not, if people want to go on to Pump House Road, park their car on the side of the road, which is not the best thing on that road in particular, they're going to do it because we have it going on all throughout Putnam County. So what they've asked us to do, would we be interested in basically owning this lot? We own it already, but they'll do all the work, and of course, we will maintain it. I spoke to them. It will not be maintained, of course, during the wintertime because very few people use the bikeway during that period of time. I've asked them also to consider gates being put on it, so when it's not actually used during the wintertime, people just can't go in there and do whatever they want to do. And I think you all have in your package here the location of it. It's kind of a perfect spot for it. And again, whether we approve this or not, they're going to park somewhere on that road or anywhere on any town road close to access to here. To me, it looks like a good idea. What they want to come out of this meeting this evening is a phone call from me tomorrow that we are interested in pursuing this, because what they would have to do then is to go out and find out, can they actually do it? Now, there are wetlands in that area. Usually they're exempt from wetland laws and things of that nature, but they've assured me in this particular case, they will have to adhere to, you know, the DEC and all the regulations. So I think it's a good idea. You know, straw polls don't count, but I'm gonna have to basically ask for kind of a straw poll. Should we ask them or allow them to move forward? Because if we say no, it's dead and we'll get stuck with whatever happens.
I'm in favor. Yeah, I'd like them to put in a
Well,
parking
you're a
lot there.
biker, you don't count, you usually get 3 votes. Okay.
Well, no, I think, and I don't know that we need to have locks on it in the winter. I mean, I think the bike paths sometimes, should we have a good snow winter, it could be a place where people would go to start on a cross-country skiing.
My biggest concern is this being used for purposes other than whatever. We close our town parks during the winter time, and not as many people use it, of course, during the winter as whatever.
Right.
But if you don't want them on there, believe me, they'll be glad to save the money.
Right.
So, Lynn?
Yes, especially if they're going to use pervious pavement and things like that.
They have to adhere to the regs.
So, that's great. I
Edwin?
think it would be wonderful.
I'm in favor, but I'd like the fence, I'd like it to be locked. Because
I say, we'll
of
put
the
a gate
issues
up,
that we
whether
go-
it's locked or
We'll
not,
see,
you
you
know,
know.
whatever.
Yeah, put it
Yeah.
in and see.
Ed?
No, it seems like a good idea. I always suspect, why such benevolence, but, obviously, if we're the recipients of the beneficiaries of the benevolence, why should we be concerned? Obviously, if they have to comply, just have to be careful, just in case it turns out that, they don't want to. So why exactly are they saying that this is something that they're offering?
Well, they know that they need parking for the bikeway. We've experienced it now for the past decade or 15 years here in Putnam County.
Right.
They need parking for the bikeway. Perfect spot. They're looking for a place up in Patterson, and this is the most likely spot for it here in town.
Okay.
And
Okay.
also, it enhances their ability to access federal transportation money,
Oh, okay.
which is going to be used to build it.
Okay, so then I think that's an even better idea.
And the initial monies for this came from the federal government. That money has dried up, and Governor Cuomo reached in his pocket and is tapped the MTA to do this. Actually, Putnam County, hired out the various other sections, and the MTA got this bid when it came to my office. I couldn't believe they were asking this thing, because it's one of the nicest things they did. I was just surprised they're willing to spend the money, but they're getting it for free, so that's one
But they
reason
get
why.
federal funds.
Okay, so I'm gonna call them tomorrow and give them the go-ahead to move forward.
So obviously, Tony, you're in favor.
No,
Oh, okay. I didn't hear Tony's.
I
straw.
don't bike like John does, but maybe one day he'll get me right.
I didn't hear Tony's straw drop.
Okay,
I'm asking.
okay. I like spaghetti, so
There you go. I love it.
you got it. Okay. Okay, next we're gonna move into the regular meeting, make a motion to go in?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, resolution, Fifth Avenue subdivision, lot number 4, drainage easement. Now therefore be resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to execute and deliver to Pomona Development LLC a document entitled Drainage Easement Lot 4 Root Avenue Subdivision, which reestablishes the location of the town's drainage easement over and through Lot 4 of Root Avenue Subdivision, together with such ancillary documents as may be necessary for recording such easement in the land records of Putnam County Clerk, all in a form satisfactory to the town attorney. So move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution, Lakeview Shopping Center, 1505-1515, Route 22, performance bond. Now therefore be resolved that the bond amount shall be established for the project set forth below. Project name, Lakeview Shopping Plaza. Bond amount, site improvements, $3,960,000. Erosion and sediment control, $70,500. Resolved that a certified copy of this resolution should be transmitted by the town clerk to the planning board secretary and the building inspector forthwith. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, there's a retaining wall up at that location. If you ever go behind it, don't go there now because it's not quite safe, and that's why they're doing this. But $4 million. That's a lot of money. So anyway, so move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 3, settlement of certiorari proceedings, Foggentown LLC, tax map 46.6-1-39 and 35.1-10. Resolved that the town board of the town of Southeast does hereby accept the recommendations of its professional advisors and authorize the town attorney to execute a stipulation of settlement, consent judgment, and/or order of consent in accordance with said recommendations for the following. Petitioner, Foggentown LLC, tax ID 46.6-1-39, year 2017, assessment $288,700, settled assessment $275,000. Again, Foggentown LLC, tax map ID number 35.1-10, year 2017, assessment $794,000, settled assessment $575,000. And be further resolved that the town attorney is hereby authorized and directed to execute any and all stipulations, consent orders, or other documents necessary to reflect the foregoing settlement. So move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 4, it's a motion to appoint Parking Enforcement Officer Gerald Schremek. So move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Let's see, public recognition.
Hi,
Evening.
Eric Larka, 413 Milltown Road. I recently attended a school board meeting on Tuesday, and there wasn't a very big turnout there. However, there were some very good questions being asked by the public. I also read an article in LOHUD today about the school board, which I found interesting, but I won't get into. So I'm here just to remind the public and the board of some upcoming school board meetings. On the 24th, there's a meeting about Title I. On May 8th, there's a budget meeting, and then May 15th is the budget vote. So I implore everybody to go, ask questions, hold the school board accountable. If you are going to attend, I would suggest that you go to YouTube and look at the videos of the last two meetings on March 27th and April 10th to get a good understanding of what's going on and ask good questions. So that's it. Thank you.
What's the title of the YouTube videos? How would we get to that?
If you go to YouTube and you look up Board of Education, you'll see all the videos and they're numbered by date. So I would recommend looking at the March 27th video and the April 10th.
And that's the would be Brewster Board of Education meetings?
Yes.
Gotcha.
You know, Title I, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I know it affects the town. Nowadays, when people are looking for places to live, a town's only as good as its school system. So I implore everyone to go out and hold the school board accountable. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Anyone else? Town board?
I do. I want to remind everyone, please, Earth Day, we have our townwide cleanup. We're going to distribute bags, gloves, and safety vests from 8 a.m. till 12 noon in front of the museum, 67 Main Street. We're going to do that Saturday and Sunday, April 21st and 22nd. We're looking forward to a really great turnout with neighborhoods and everything. And also there will be a puppet show, which is free. It's going to be at the gazebo at Veterans/Electrazone Field, for those of us who are older and remember that. It's made of, all the puppets are made of upcycled materials, and it's from 1 o'clock till 2 on that Sunday, the 22nd, and it really should be a lot of fun. So, and I know CAP is getting involved too, so I would urge everyone to get involved and come in and pick up the town so it looks great for this spring.
And
Thank
I'd
you.
just like to remind everyone again to comply with the 911 regulations. We announced it the last time we were here. Please make certain that your residences are clearly marked with your address number. It's very important to our first responders and could very well save your life or the life of a loved one.
Okay, I just have one
Tony,
quick,
there are some people who do want to.
Speaking of 911, I just thought of something. Okay, I'm Kathleen McBride. I live in Brewster Heights. Speaking of 911, I have an issue with that. We have Comcast, okay? I don't know if you know about Comcast. It's such a wonderful thing. They put your phone in with your TV, with your computer, all together. Unlimited phone calls you get, except when they're going to do maintenance. It was $99 a year. After about a year and a half, they said, oh, why don't you bring your modem in? We're going to update it for you. Bring my modem in, and then they say, would you like a battery with that? And I said, a battery? What do you mean? Well, if the lights go out, you'll be able to use your phone. I said, I'm not paying for a battery. I'm paying you more money for the phone and an upgrade on my... The problem is, when your lights go out or anything goes out, you cannot use your phone to dial 911. I've called the Public Service Commission. I've called the FCC. I now have to write Eric Schneiderman a letter. When you have no phone, you can't dial out if there's an emergency. Now, somebody told me something about the copper wires they took out of the phones. That you can't, if your lights go out or they're doing updating in the middle of the night, you know, like when your mother might have her heart attack or something, you might not have a phone. So I don't know if anybody is aware of this issue or anything, but I'm having a problem with Comcast.
I thought if you had a they're very old-fashioned, but a corded phone, not a cordless.
I have a corded phone.
And that doesn't work either?
They took the copper wires out of it.
Oh, I don't know anything about
So
that.
So even though the copper phone, you
the
would,
copper wires, yeah, the phone
I
is
mean, the
connected
phone?
to the thing. You can't dial out on it.
because I used to have at least one phone that I could plug into the wall
Jack,
whenever
yeah.
there was a blackout.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that doesn't work anymore?
no.
Because I'm sort of exclusively on, almost on your cell phone now,
Yeah.
so.
Well, that's what I was told, that I should go out and buy a cell phone. Like, I'm paying you $210 a month, and you want me to go buy a cell phone? I don't think so.
So they can provide a battery that will override this?
The battery is in your modem,
Okay.
okay, which would only last 4 years, and you can buy one for $45. But meanwhile, your phone bill, your cable bill went
I
up
know.
from $99 to $215, and every month it goes up a few cents more. So I don't know why you people aren't getting a cut. Maybe somebody's getting a cut. Somebody's getting a cut from this. I don't know, what's the deal with it?
Well, we've been trying to,
I mean, we need to have competition in this area. I don't know why we don't have
I-
competition.
I
When
think
we-
Tony, yeah.
When we signed the very last contract, we put a clause in the contract, because it wasn't there, but it was there in spirit, but not in writing. It's now there in writing. We will take anybody. It's not exclusive for them, but they're the only game in town right at the moment. Anybody else
Nobody
wants-
wants
They
to
want-
compete with Comcast, essentially.
They want to come in, they're welcome to it. Our
They're buying
arms are open.
everything, and they're, but I just don't understand. It's definitely an issue, but everyone keeps passing the buck. They pass the buck from the public safety to the FCC. Now I have to get in touch with Eric Schneiderman. He's
Attorney General.
Attorney General. So I'm just writing letters, and sometimes I can't see because the lights go out, and then my computer doesn't work, and I'm just like in the dark. No, but no one's ever complained about this issue.
not that,
Not
everyone's
that.
complained about Comcast, but not that particular
Well,
issue.
that's an important issue. We don't even know how many people have died because they couldn't call 911 in the middle of the night because they're not around to ask anymore.
Unfortunately, Verizon had done some FiOS wiring and things.
Yeah,
but
they did it
the
up
money-
Brewster
I know,
Heights, but
the-
they stopped.
Right, and the money isn't there, and they're not interested, so we would love there to be competition, but
So there's no
I've
competition.
gone to FCC some meetings, and no one is interested in being in this area.
Well, I guess we'll be dead too. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening.
Thank you.
My name is Terry Chiramella. I live in the town of Southeast. And I just want to correct Ms. McBride on that. There is no BIOS in Brewster Heights. There's BIOS in the village
Yes.
of Brewster and Carmel, but not in Brewster Heights.
I
So-
thought maybe you
No.
just said it was just wired or something like that.
So I just wanted,
Some areas are
I just wanna-
wired in Southeast.
Ellie Krupp has it on Clematis Road.
no, she does
No.
not have BIOS.
She does.
Okay,
Okay.
wait, time out. There's different types of files, okay? We're talking the television files when we're speaking, okay?
There is no BIOS in
No, I
the
don't think it's
town
in,
of Southeast.
I don't think it's in the Village of Brewster either.
There
but-
is.
Yeah.
There
I
is in a
don't-
village.
I don't believe so.
Oh, okay, well,
But the
yeah,
bottom
I'm
line.
not here for that.
There's two types of files. Again, there's TV and TV, internet, and phone. The town of Southeast has no internet files.
You know what? I really don't care.
What'd you bring it up for?
I care,
Okay,
but-
I was correcting her problem.
She don't need to be corrected.
Okay,
She's
so
good.
the reason why I'm here tonight, I have a question about the Bloomer Reed House, which is 150 to 152 Putnam Avenue.
That's the one at the bottom of the hill?
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay, that house is a landmark, right? It's a historical landmark?
I think it's on historic
It's on
sites,
your,
but I'm
it's
not.
on your historical landmark list?
It's in our local list.
Okay.
Yes, our local.
Okay, so that house, is it a single, residential, or is it multiple family? Is
I'll
it commercial?
double
What
check.
type of property is
Something
it?
like that, I'll have to check tomorrow and I'll get back to you, because we can't answer that. I can't answer it, and I don't think anyone are qualified,
Okay.
but I'll find out tomorrow.
Okay, so
I
the house, because I need to know, because the house is, when it was for sale, it was listed as a 8-bedroom, 5-bath house.
And that could well be. I
Okay.
believe it's a group home.
That's years ago. Okay, but it's been, they've been renting it out.
Okay.
Renting up splitting up the house. And they have multiple people living in there. I mean, thousands and thousands, as Trump would say. Okay? And there's children living in that house.
Now, what's the number? Tell me, I know it's
150 through 152 Putnam Avenue. It's the
152?
corner of Putnam Avenue and Route 6.
I know where it is, but 152, and what was the other number?
150 to 152.
Okay.
They also have a house, on that property, there's a house in the back.
Yep.
Okay, which also has thousands and thousands of people live in it. Okay? There's a problem there.
I have your email address.
Okay.
I will forward your concerns to the building department first thing tomorrow. Notify.
And then there's another house. There's a house that sits on the pathway as you, on Putnam Avenue and Route 6. As soon as you make that quick right, okay, it's like adjacent to that bank, Putnam Savings Bank, is that the name of the bank?
Yeah.
There's like a little house, used to be, for I understand, a,
Plant nursery there.
that's right. There's a lot of people living in there also.
Okay.
Okay, so these houses have a septic system, okay? And they have, you know, they're not allowed to have, you know, a lot of people living in the houses, okay? And what I don't understand is how they're getting away with, why isn't the town enforcing health violations against them?
If there's a health violation, that would be the health department, but are you sure they have septic and they're not on the Brewster Heights, they're not hooked up to Brewster Heights Sewer District?
No, they're not. And if you go back and look at your records, you'll see that years ago, when it was that health facility that was there, that mental health facility that was there, they had asked to be put on, but they got denied.
Okay. Well, the issue you're speaking of, I'll report it to the building department, but it sounds like more of a health department issue than
Oh,
ours.
definitely.
Okay.
Those three houses, yes. And, you know, I know you guys don't like talking about the village, okay?
We don't
because you
talk about
always
it
say,
because we have
that's
nothing
not
to
our
do."
problem. But it is your problem. You know why it's your problem? Because the village is in the town of Southeast. They pay taxes to the town of Southeast. And the gentleman that was just here in the back about the schools, right? That's one of the issues, correct? Pretty much, right? Yeah. And I'm going to tell you something too. When I have to hear kids, when I go to church and I hear kids talking about how bad the village is and that they don't even want to go to church to St. Lawrence because they're afraid to go into the village. They're afraid for their own lives. We're talking about young kids, okay? They're afraid, okay? Somebody really needs to step in and do something about what's going on in our town.
Okay, now let me explain two things. First of all, there's the town of Southeast, and there's the village of Brewster. Yeah, I know you
The village pays taxes to the
yeah,
town,
no,
correct?
ma'am, you don't understand.
Okay.
There's two different
I know
governments.
they're two separate things.
And that's, your gripe or your comments belong in front of the village board. When do they meet?
Wednesdays, John just went.
Next meeting is next Wednesday, 7:30.
You know, it's bad enough.
But that's where this should be addressed. We as a town cannot go into the village and tell
I'm not
them,
asking you to go into the village. I'm telling you to clean up your town.
we're gonna try.
Clean up your town because,
But that, the village
because
is,
if you don't clean up your town, you're gonna get, you're getting drugs. You already have the drugs here, okay?
It's in every
You're
town.
gonna get those gangs from Long Island, which they're here, okay? They're here.
again, we hear you, but the village is its own entity, has its own government, actually has its own police force, okay?
That's a
Bring
joke.
it-
That's a joke.
Well,
You
bring,
know what?
but
They
you,
only go after people who live in the town. I mean, you go through the village main street.
have you
nothing.
gone to the village with this?
I'm sorry.
Have you gone to the village with this,
Oh,
where it
let me
belongs?
tell you, I did go down to their meetings a couple of times. I also went down when they had that library issue, and I found out when he was begging for money, okay? Nobody went to the meeting and complained about it, and, you know, they during this major renovation on the library, okay? They're doing major renovations in a junkyard, thinking that if they do their renovation, people will come. That's ludicrous. Anybody I talk to do not want to go to the village because they're afraid. They're free.
I have to disagree, Terry.
No,
Well,
no.
you didn't, everyone's
I'm not
entitled
making
to
it up.
opinion.
Right.
I'm not making it up.
Okay.
But the one thing, Terry, that I would urge you to do is when there are things that we wouldn't know about this if you don't bring it to our attention. And you, no, I'm not talking about the village. I'm talking about houses that you think are in violation of. If you call us, we can make sure that our building inspector knows about these complaints, and he does go out there and he does follow up, but.
He will do it tomorrow.
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
all you have to do is let
So
us
you
know.
have, you have your building inspectors, you have your parking. Parking doesn't do anything because there's somebody parking with commercial trucks in our neighborhood, and nobody's going around to give them a ticket.
Has anyone mentioned, look,
we
we
need
only
to-
can be
we
a
need to
certain
hear
amount of time,
this.
certain, I mean, look, we've hired a person that
They're
goes
not
out.
doing their job, they're not doing their due diligence.
And I have told that I have to write a letter on my computer, and then they'll get back to me. That's what I have to do.
No.
Me.
Was that to the, was that to the building department?
Yeah, and that's the lady that answers the phone.
Wait, if you're gonna talk, come up to the mic. Before, time out before you go. Ma'am,
And I just got one last
You finish
thing.
your comment?
Yes.
Don't call me ma'am, you know who I am. My last name is Chiaramella, Ciaramella. You know me.
I know, and
I
I'll
see you
call
at
you
the
ma'am,
doctor's
I
office.
think it's respect.
Okay, so my last thing is, the person that was hired last year as a dog warden, who is that person?
The dog warden?
The town has a dog warden.
Dog control, Courtney.
Yeah.
Okay. Courtney? Okay, so when I call that number, okay?
You get the town clerk, you don't call.
No, I get you. It says your voicemail comes up. You call, go online.
Before you go off wrong.
No,
town
I'm correct.
Town clerk, when we get a phone call in for the dog warden, does it come to Tony Hay or does it go to the town clerk?
It depends on what number they.
Go online and look up,
If
go
on the
online and
tag
look
is-
up, dog warden. It says Courtney Pagano. And then dial that telephone number, it says, hi, this is Tony Hay.
You must hit the wrong button.
No, I didn't.
I bet, you know, we got a computer, let's.
Go, do it.
Check the record.
Do it. Because there's a dog, there's a pit bull running around the neighborhood, okay, and I call the dog warden, Courtney Pagano.
You don't get her, you'll never get her, we don't
Okay.
give out her phone number, we contact her, usually the town
Well,
clerk.
your voicemail comes
Well,
up.
let's see what,
Okay.
How's Louis?
I'm sorry?
How's Louis?
He's excellent.
Great,
A couple more years, we're out of here. I'm just doing my job right now.
Okay, see.
okay, so we're on the Southeast website, what are we gonna go to? Dog warden?
Just type in dog warden. Comes up Courtney Pagano. Pagano.
Dog control.
Because you've never called me about the dogs.
I'm sorry?
I never heard you talk to me about dogs.
Why would I want to talk to you about a dog when I want to talk to
Well, you're
Courtney?
saying you get me.
Because your voicemail comes up when you dial the number. So why would I want to talk to you? You're not the dog warden.
Guess what? Change that tomorrow.
Thank you.
It doesn't matter what number you call, though.
But that's
No,
my,
no, no,
the
I'm just
timeout,
saying-
that's my direct line.
Yeah, yeah.
I have not received dog control.
I know, but I'm just saying, you don't ever get in touch with Courtney. Whoever you call, leave a message, and we
Doesn't
call
say that.
Courtney.
Doesn't say that.
Okay.
It says,
Okay,
hi,
yeah.
this is Tony Hay.
Okay, well, leave a message and we'll get right back to
Why
you.
would I leave a message?
Thank you
to
for
the-
making us aware of it, because you know what, all these
We're gonna
years I didn't
change
know
it.
I was on there and I don't belong on there.
No, you don't.
No, the town clerk does though. We'll change it?
But you
We'll
haven't
leave it on.
gotten any calls on it, have you, Tony?
I never
That's
done
why.
anything.
Maybe that's why we got so many dogs running around.
Nah, not
Can't get in touch
necessarily.
with
They
them?
would, believe me, all the phone calls I get,
Yep.
a dog wouldn't be anything compared to what I get.
Yeah.
All right, so that means that you didn't get the facts either, that people have been sending you about the dog warden.
What facts?
Okay,
Well,
so,
we don't use fax, we use email, but it's facts, what phone number did he use?
okay. All right, so you're gonna get back to me on the 150, 152?
Yeah, I'm gonna forward this to the building
Okay.
inspector first thing tomorrow morning, you'll see that I did that. The other one, I don't know
And
if
the
I did.
parking situations, because somebody's parking commercial vehicles.
No, wait,
overnight
is that
on
in
the-
Brewster Heights?
That is correct.
What street?
Take your pick.
So if you can call tomorrow and call the dog warden and give him the address, that
Which
would be,
one?
You're the dog warden. You're
No,
the dog
no,
warden.
don't call the dog
No,
warden.
no,
He
call the
died.
dog warden and give him the address.
I'm
and
trying to
then-
find out with a commercial vehicle. You're complaining about more than one commercial vehicle being parked?
Absolutely.
Then that's, give us the
And Terry,
address.
really,
Just
call me
patrol
anytime.
the area. I mean,
Well, you-
come on. I mean, during the winter, there was cars on the road. Nobody came through to give citations.
How do you know
I mean,
that?
we're paying, excuse me?
Well, don't we bring people to court all the time with citations?
Who's the person that's supposed to drive around the
But
neighborhoods?
they can't go there every 5 minutes. It's a big town.
I'm not saying, hey,
We give tickets. Tickets are being
you
issued.
know what? Town needs to generate money, right?
Just from the
No, actually, I mean, really, you have my number, and I'm always happy to hear from you. Call me, and I will follow up on any of this.
And I think-
It's
I
my
think-
pleasure to do it.
And I think it's important, if you see violations and you don't think the building department's responsive, then call Tony.
She did.
I do, I call all the time.
Then,
I'm just coming up next to tell how no one calls me back.
I called you
I got
back.
trees still laying down on my property.
And if you could
That's
just
a different
kindly
issue.
send me a list of each individual's liaison responsibility, you know.
That is on the website, isn't it,
Okay.
Tony? The
No,
liaisons?
it's not. It's not.
Trees on her property are.
Okay.
You're,
Okay, leave,
which department?
For ZBA and.
ARB.
And ARB,
What's
thank.
that?
Architectural Review Board.
Okay.
you know, the
Oh, I
organization,
know you're highway.
No, I'm a highway, I'm library, and I did go to meetings, by the way.
Did you vote no?
I'm not gonna disclose that, but I did go to a lot of their meetings. And, what else? Historic sites.
And that money that the town has been, that's been allocated by the, by the state, we're gonna get $155,000 for our highway department, right? That Senator Murphy got for us?
Oh, for filling, that's CHIPS money, we get that every year.
Okay, so that's gonna be dispersed to fix our, part of our infrastructure?
In
It
theory,
cannot
that-
be used for, payroll or any
No,
other
no, no,
those
no,
things?
it's high, it's,
Okay.
no, it can't.
So if I want, later on down the road, I want to know accountability of how the money was spent, can I get that?
Yes, if you find out, let us know. We've been trying
Fine,
for
you-
4 years to
I've
find
been
out.
trying to find out too.
We have
You
to.
know, I mean, it's bad enough that, you're asking me about an accident that happened with one of your guys on the watch. I mean, what does that tell you?
Because no one ever told us what transpired. I'm reviewing certain situations right now, but it was never reported. There's a lot of things that go unreported in this town that should be, and we didn't know.
Do you drive around like I do?
Yeah.
That's because
Oh,
they
come
have
on.
to write a letter. They have to write a letter and send it on my computer, okay? And then it's just like here, now here's my other two complaints, it still have not been resolved. I live in a neighborhood where I call up, someone's got their hose from their washing machine running out their window, and the water is going down to this little old lady who's 89 years old. She can't even go to her mailbox. It's a sheet of ice.
That has been reviewed by the building department.
And nothing's been done, it's been reviewed, and
Because
that's it.
it's not quite the way you have it. It was investigated, and it's not quite the way you're describing it.
Well, I'm telling you, the water is well, what happens when she falls, that lady on the ice? Who do we sue for that?
Probably the person who's putting the water there in the first place.
See? Okay,
But
just
they've
wanna
gone
know,
out
so
to
when
site
I
and it's
throw
not
it down
what-
on the floor, I'll know, we're gonna split it. Okay, my other issue is, I have a rented house in the back of me, and she's got trees, and they keep falling down. And whose responsibility is it? She mows the lawn. I'm not picking up no tree, because if I do, I'm gonna drop it on my head.
is it trees on private property?
Yes, it is. She's getting rent money. You're getting $300 because she's renting out the place. And I gotta write a letter, put it on my computer, and send it, and wait for someone to call me. I mean, what is the problem here? I mean, I gotta speak to a nasty woman, Bonnie, on the phone, who tells me I gotta write a letter. And no one gets back to me.
Well,
what am I supposed
what
to do?
you're saying now, you know is not true, because I've got emails to prove that to be untrue.
Yeah,
Now,
well,
you know
I got emails too.
You know you came to me 2 weeks
Yes,
ago.
I know, and
I called
when is
out.
the tree gonna be
Time out.
removed?
Let me, look at, you're saying things that have been not corrected, but they've been
They are
asked.
correct.
Huh?
They are correct.
No. When I said they may not be corrected, but we went out and investigated and did what we could do at that time.
And
in
what
the last
did
10
you,
days.
and what did you do?
What does that building department do? They went out and looked at the water. It's not like you say it is. It's not from dishwater.
It's her hose, it's her washing machine.
It's a sump pump.
Well, whatever it is.
And they went out there and they found the water not to be going the way you're saying it's going.
Yes, it is going.
Well,
It's going. It's going right to that lady's house. So you're calling me a liar now.
I'm not calling you a liar. I'm
You're
just
calling
telling
me
you.
a liar.
You want me, you look at, I'll post on the webpage tomorrow what you asked us to do, what we went out and do.
Did you or did you not do a test to find out where all this excess water was coming from?
I don't think they did a test, but the building.
How much did that cost?
Why would we do a test?
You did a test a couple of years ago to find
Oh
out
my
where
God,
all this
now we're a couple
excess.
years ago?
Yeah, all this excess water was going. That the sewer system was being overworked.
Oh, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, you don't
Sorry.
remember? Yeah, I know. We
Come
only have
on, you're going
selective
back
memory.
years now. You're talking
Selective
about-
memory. Well, what's going to be done about the water, and what's going to be done about the neighbor's tree laying in my yard?
Trees are a bit more difficult, because
Hey, listen. This is not the first tree. If you go down and look, she's had 6 or 8 of them because she doesn't clean, she doesn't weed.
So,
them.
and all-
We
and
got-
all
we
6
got
or 8 trees,
and
all
we got
6
roots that are turning into trees.
All-
Listen, I'm trying to keep
Oh,
my
come on,
property
look
nice.
at.
How about a white fence?
6,
Puts up a nice white fence. What side does she clean? Her side. My neighbor only cleans her side of the white fence. My side hasn't been washed. Why would you put up a tree? I know, I'm ridiculous. I'm ridiculous.
hey, look, you have to understand, 6 trees, and they all fell on your property.
There's more than 6 trees. There's trees and weeds and everything.
Oh.
So I'm just supposed to take it. What happens when I decide not to do anything anymore? What happens? Then they're going to complain. You're not mowing your lawn. You're not shoveling your driveway. I just think it's totally unfair that you have all these people working and I have to write a letter and send it on my computer and sit there and wait for someone to call me. Yeah. I just think it's totally unfair. Maybe I'll have to write a letter to Mrs. Mary Odell and tell her you got so many people working for the town of Southeast, I think you should eliminate some of them.
Well, they did it a long time ago, that's why a lot
Well,
of things
maybe
don't
it's
get done.
time to do it again, Tony. If you want to stand up there and insult me, go right ahead.
How am I
I'm just
insulting-
trying to take care of
How am I
myself.
insulting you? You're not being insulted.
Okay, I'm trying to take care of my property.
Thank you.
People just don't care. Her
Me-
fence is white, my fence is mold and mildew.
Well, I have to take care of my property in the back too, and I take care of my property the same.
Probably break and she'll sue me.
Well, thank you. Anyone else from the public?
Don't care. Nobody
Seeing none.
cares. Make your paycheck
All in favor?
every week.
Yes, good.
There's a Little League parade on April 21st, Saturday morning, starting at, down at the Lecter Zone Field, going up to Markel Park. It starts at 10 o'clock. And that's all.
Okay. Anyone else? I'm going to make a motion to go back into executive session. I have a few incompleted items. Well,
I'll
no
second.
action will be taken, so we can close the meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.